Hello everybody and welcome to Wonderland Gaming. I'm your host Alice and this is a tutorial on setting up your first mercenary in our mercenary group in RogueTech. If you're here from my previous video, how to install RogueTech, this is immediately following that. In fact, I'm doing it mere seconds after I finish that first video. So anyway, we are going to basically set this up as if we have never played RogueTech before and create our very first mercenary company. Okay. We're not going to do any missions. We're just going to go ahead and go through the campaign for the first time and set our first options. I hope you find this tutorial useful. We're going to go ahead and click on career mode. And if this is your first time, you're probably not going to have a load or a continue here. You're only going to have new. Okay. We're going to hit new. And this is where you're going to set your base difficulty settings, right? And this is your only option to do this particular part. Okay. First you're going to choose is the number of parts you need for mech assembly. The base vanilla game chooses 3. I find that a little too easy. And 5, I'm a streamer. I would choose 5 if I was off stream, but I'm a streamer and people like seeing new mechs occur. And 4 makes it slightly easier to get them. So I keep it at 4. 3 is a little too easy. 5, a little bit too challenging. But set this to whatever you want. Friendly fire, you have an option. None. Neutrals only or all. Okay, that should be pretty self-explanatory. But basically, if you miss, you have a chance of hitting one of your allies if they're in the line of fire. Starting planet is set this to what you want. This is huge compared to what it normally is. Look at all these options, guys. But this affects basically where you're going to start on the online map. I'll show you the online map at the end of the tutorial. But it's massive. I was spoiled by the clans. That's how I started BattleTech way back in the day. So I choose clans. I will say clans does make it a more difficult start. Basically, you start with light mechs only instead of a medium mech and a couple of light mechs. But they start with clan equipment, so it makes it more powerful. So keep that in mind. Also, just going against the clans right off the bat, it's difficult because they have awesome equipment. They have elite pilots. So that can make it more challenging. All right. All right, mech recovery chance, 50%. This is the chance to get your mech back if it happens to get destroyed. Okay. I usually leave it at 50%. Keep in mind, if you eject, you get a 50% bonus to getting your mech back. Okay. Enemy force strength. It's exactly what it sounds like. How difficult do you want it to be? I have never played higher difficulty than pirate. And pirate makes it quite difficult. Okay. So just keep in mind, what this does is it takes the difficulty of the contract that you have and basically has makes it more difficult by 1/2 skull per difficulty setting above or below normal. Okay, so pirate, basically normal is 1, 2, 3, so that's a 1.5 skulls more difficult than whatever difficulty rating you chose for that contract. So if it's a 1 skull contract, you can have mechs and vehicles going up against you up to 2.5 skulls instead of just 1 skull. Now, that makes the game more difficult and more challenging, yes, but it also gives you a chance of better equipment dropping. Keep that in mind. Contract difficulty variance. So this is so let's say you based on your difficulty settings, the planet that you're on or the lance rating that you're at, whatever it is, you should be getting 1 skull missions, right? It's pretty early in the campaign, and that's where you're at in your difficulty. Well, it's kind of boring to see every single contract you're at just be 1 skull and only 1 skull. What this does is it adds some variety to that. And for each, this number basically represents a 1/2 skull. So if you set it to 2, let's set it to 2. That means that if you normally should be getting 2 skull missions, what this does, setting this to 2, means that you can get anywhere from 1 skull, which is 1 skull below 2, all the way up to 3 skull missions. It'll vary it. You can get 2 skulls, 2.5 skulls, or I'm sorry, 1 skull, 1.5 skull, 2 skulls, 2.5 skulls, and 3 skull missions as an option. Okay, and it varies it, so you don't really have control over that once you set it. Now, I believe you can change it once you're in the game. Okay. Yeah, in fact, the only thing that can't be changed is the parts for mech assembly. Everything else can be changed. Contract payment. I basically like generous. It's up to, but it's up to you. But this is how generous they are when they pay you for the contracts. Okay. Salvage. I like generous because, again, I'm streaming. I like, you know, I like people seeing me get new things, and that's what it is. Commander experience points. I start in clan space. I use that as my excuse to choose to get more experience for my initial commander. Choose whatever works for you. You can go all the way up to 1,750, all the way up to 10,000. Advanced Mech Warriors. This is how often you will see Advanced Mech Warriors show up when you go to higher pilots. Okay? Or Mech Warriors. Often normal or rare. I generally choose rare, personally, simply because I like to customize my own lance. I want my own lance mates in there. I have a set number, certain people that I put in there. But choose whatever you want. Ronin higher chance, kind of similar to Advanced Mech Warriors. This is how often Ronin appear for higher. I choose 10% because, again, I don't really go to get hire new people very often. Pilots per system, anywhere from 1 down to 10. It's how many pilots in any given system that are looking to be hired. Mech Warrior progression. Fast, normal, slow, or very slow. Basically, it's how quickly your Mech Warriors will gain experience, or how much experience they need to get to the next level. This exponent, again, sets how quickly your Mech Warriors are going to progress. And the Mech Warrior multiplier. All 3 of these combine to determine how quickly that your Mech Warriors are going to get new skills. Okay. Lethality, exactly what it sounds like. Lethal, every time basically your mech is destroyed, you will lose your pilot. Normal is how it normally is in the game. Half the time is exactly that. It's like, you know, you will lose your Mech Warriors half as often. And never is never. You will always get your Mech Warriors back. Okay. Starting money. Again, I start in clan space. Clan space is difficult, and I start with higher amount of money. It's just my choice. But if you want it to be harder or somewhere in between, you can set any of these settings you want. But basically, that is going to be the starting amount of money that you get, minus the cost of your initial lance. And then mech base speed. Remember when we talked about in the last tutorial on how long it basically if you take damage to your armor and things like that. This is how fast your mech techs work. Okay. I choose normal. Mech bay armor speed, how long it takes them to repair armor. I choose normal on that. Mech bay C-bills, how much it costs to repair your mechs. I choose normal on that. Trust me, it's plenty difficult. Shop selling prices. This is how much it's going to, how much return on any equipment you get that you sell in the shops. Okay, I choose 18% for that, and I choose half that for scrapping. So this is basically going in and scrapping a piece of equipment instead of selling it. Okay. Once you choose that, you've chosen everything you need to choose. Hit start game. Now, it is going to hang here for a minute. It's just the nature of the beast. It's how long it's part of RogueTech. Okay. So you just wait here for a moment. It will get to it. It will pretty much wait until you think it's not going to work. And right before you're going to hit Control-Alt-Delete, it's going to work. That's why we're going to stay here and wait instead of just skipping this part of the scene. I want you guys to see how long it's going to take. But you can see up here it's thinking and moving. So as long as it's doing that, you're okay, right? I just ate a Junior Mint, sorry. I'm going to get a drink real quick. My throat's getting really parched. Oh, thank you. It's a lot better. All right. Like I said, we're still waiting. It's all right. Everything's fine. Just give it a moment. Everything will be okay. Also, one of the things RogueTech adds, or it updates these sayings in the upper left. and they're quite funny. I highly recommend reading those. And they change throughout time, actually. I've seen more and more show up, so it's kind of cool that they keep updating that. Anyway, guys, like I said, it hangs, and it hangs. Don't worry, it's working. The entire game isn't this slow. It's just this particular part. I don't know why. I think part of it is it's loading all of the portraits. You'll see what we're talking about in a minute. But give it a moment. It'll work. Just doing its thing. Right up until you think it's not going to work. It'll work. On work.
Awaiting orders.
Just need me to move my mouse around in circles. There we go. All right, so this should be familiar to you if you played the vanilla game. If not, then we'll go over it. It's not a big deal. Basically, you get to choose where you came from, where your family came from, I should say. We're gonna choose the deep periphery because we're clanners. And then the day after, notice what it's doing though is up here. It doesn't really matter, but down here, it'll matter because it changes what skills your base mech warrior starts with. Till the day after your 17th or 16th birthday, when we were exiled. Just choose whatever works for you.
Yes, Commander.
I get gunnery and tactics for that. Out on your own, you fell into a life of I don't know, frontier freelancer. Pick whatever you want. I get tactics for that. Make sense? Then you get to edit your name and appearance. Okay. My call sign is always Kook, spelled backwards, so it's a capital K's at the end. I am, as everybody knows, Alice. And we'll be funny and just choose Kerensky. All right, there we go. Now, you get to choose what pronoun you want.
Welcome, Commander.
Okay, this is going to choose what pronoun it's going to get you.
Receiving you.
It also changes what voice you get.
Wait, what can I do for you? Welcome, Commander. Commander.
I always like female pro. Okay, that's me. Anyway, then you get to choose what portrait you want. And there are dozens upon dozens of portraits. Keep in mind, if you choose one of the pre-made portraits, look at that, you can be FemShep if you want. So hot. Anyway, I usually choose this one. Okay, just whichever one you want. If you choose one of the preloaded portraits like this, though, you can't customize it. Okay, you can't change. Like, you can come in here and do it, but it's not going to do anything because it's a picture, right? So keep that in mind. Once you've chosen what you want, go ahead and hit save.
Awaiting orders.
And there you go. And now you hit confirm. There's a small pause here. There used to be a longer pause, but they fixed that. And it goes, welcome to RogueTech. There you go. And there you go. You are now captain of your very own Argo. We're not done with the tutorial yet. I'm going to take you through all the way up before you take your very first tutorial. Very first mission, sorry. All right, so the very first thing I do is I go to the captain's quarters. Oops, I go to the captain's quarters and I choose customize company. Because it always defaults to your call sign and then marauders. I always like kaiju for mine because we're big mechs. Big mech kaiju, right? And then look at all the emblems you get to pick. This is what you were picking when you were choosing emblems during the install for RogueTech. There are dozens upon dozens upon dozens. Right? And they're adding to them all the time. Some of these I haven't seen before. Ooh, what's that one say? Oh man, I can't read it. Black. No. Heavy metal. That's awesome. I like it. I like it. All right, well, choose the one that you like. A lot of times I'll choose this one. Okay. But again, choose whichever one suits your fancy. And then you get to choose, other than the, let's be black and white. We're going to be black and white people. So anyway, black and silver, I should say. This isn't new. You get this option when you are doing the vanilla. What's new is the fact that you have so many more crests. Right? Go ahead and hit save. All right, engineering. We'll go to do ship upgrades next. There are many different ship upgrades. I'm not going to go through all of them, but know that even some of the ones that are the exact same as in vanilla, they have different effects. So I highly recommend that you look through them. Okay. Now, you can choose whatever you want as your very first ship upgrade, but you're wrong if you don't choose repaired power conduits. Why? Because repaired power conduits is going to lead very much into your next ship upgrade, which is your mech bay 2. You want 2 mech bays up and running as soon as possible. It is amazing to have 2 mech bays up and running. And then there's several options that I feel are very necessary in a certain order, but we're not going to go through all of those. It's beyond the scope of this tutorial. However, for right now, just trust me, you want power conduits. Pick something else if you want. That's fine. You're not gonna lose the game if you don't. But it is so important to do these things. You will get a free tech point out of doing that, and it only costs 90,000 and takes 10 days. So.
All right, I'll get the team on it right away.
You choose that. She's gonna go ahead and get the team working on it. Once you do that, the next time you come in here, when it finishes, Mech Bay 2 will be available to you. Okay? Now, we are going to go over, very briefly, the Mech Warrior barracks. Okay, these are the Ronin and the advanced Mech Warriors that you start with. Okay, you want to come in here so you can spend their experience. Okay, but you also want to take a look at their service record because they may have things in here that are very important. Okay, now criminal would occasionally steal C-bills from you. Now they've changed that where they steal the C-bills for you, which is kind of cool, right? So like I said, these are different than they were in vanilla. But you want to look at some things. Typically, I'm looking for a couple of different things. I want technicians. I want merchants. And I don't want nobles. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Technicians are important because they give you increased mech tech skill for free. They cost a little bit more in salary, but it's so worth it. Oh my goodness. So we're definitely going to keep Arclight here. And I'm just going to go ahead and spend the experience. I'm not going to go over all of the skills and what they do. I will tell you, though, that the skills do different things, even if they have the same name. Like Ace Pilot, well, Ace Pilot's probably the same. Multi-Target's probably the same. But a lot of these are... like Juggernaut, this is different than it is in vanilla. I don't remember what it is in vanilla, but keep in mind, it's different, it has different effects, so just note that, okay? Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do that.
Mech Warrior training complete.
Alright, let's look at Corsair here. Criminal, that's good. Tortugan, interesting, they were a former pirate. Mech Warrior military, I don't see anything bad here, so we'll go ahead and get him up and running. I don't always choose these same skills, by the way. I'm just doing this because I want to get through this quickly. A lot of times I choose those same skills, but not all the time. Did I? Yep. Take a look at them. They're bookish, which is good and bad. They get decreased XP cost, so you get tactics easier, but guts is harder. Keep that in mind. Military, Solaris Gladiator, Mech Warrior, nothing bad here, so let's go ahead and get them up and running. All right.
Training confirmed, Commander.
All right. Apparently I have God on my team here. Interesting. Take a look at them. They're bookish. They have their nobility. I am not going to keep this person even though they're a merchant. So, their mood, their morale changes based on how much money you're able to give them. So if you're not able to give them the max amount of, funding, then their morale is going to go down, and I hate that. It really annoys me. So I tend to dismiss any of them. It's me. You don't have to do that. It's just me.
Ready for orders.
This is me. This is Kook. So I'm going to go ahead and spend my experience. There we go.
Mech Warrior training complete.
All right, we have Punisher.
How can I help?
Oh, wait, whoops. Let's look at here. They're an assassin, which is really cool. And Mech Warrior, Brave, Military, and Federal. So there you go. So we're going to go ahead and keep them. Oh, wow. You had enough experience to get an extra gunnery piece. So that's good.
Training complete.
All right. Yeah, that him saying training complete. That's part of the chatter that gets turned off if you select that one option during the tutorial or during the installation. Sorry. Oh, nobility. God, both merchants were nobles. Darn it. I'm gonna go ahead and dismiss them. Again, you don't have to.
I've got your back.
And then Weasel Cakes. I love that name. Technician, criminal, military, league. Wow, this person had a lot of stuff. So. We didn't get any merchants this time around, so there you go. Alright, there you go. Now, I'm going to do one thing. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to go to the hiring hall. I'm going to hire a new mech warrior. I want you to see what that looks like. And we're going to hire somebody who isn't already oh, unstable. No, we don't want them. Jeez. Noble, nope. Rooster isn't bad. Inks isn't bad. Cautious. Oh, merchant. There we go. We can get a merchant. Hire.
New mech warriors available.
Excellent. And we'll go here to mech warriors. And let's outfit our new person. Here she is. Shell shock. So we're gonna go ahead and customize them. You can't customize the others because they're special. Okay? You can customize one that you hire. And we'll give them a new name. So let's do maid. Oh, that's funny. I always give maid the name of Sarah and Quiller. Okay. Now, this is something that annoys me about RogueTech, but it's super duper cosmetic. They know about it, but it's so low on the priority list to fix. I'm probably gonna have to fix it myself, frankly. And I'm not good at doing stuff like that. I could learn it. I have the skill set. I just don't want to. Anyway, and that is when you're choosing your pronoun, it changes the voice. But notice that unlike on the screen where we were choosing our pilot, it's compressed here and you can't see the whole, you know what I mean? It's too big for this thing, so you can't see which one you're picking. And it also doesn't do a sound off, so you don't know which voice it is that you're getting. Now, in previous versions of RogueTech, they had a button down here that would allow you to scroll through the voices, and that's how you could fix that. But you can't do that here. So I just happen to know that the voice I want for Sarah Quiller happens to be 2 over from the default. So you won't know what voice it is until you hit save. And that's the voice that they'll have. Make sense? We're going to go back in here. Use that. Makeup is 5. Let's change the complexion. You can change any of these to what you want them to be. Remember what hairstyle I give her. There it is. I always make her look. Yep, that's fine. I'm not going to spend too much time on any of this because I've kind of gone over what I wanted to go over here. Her roots. Eyes, skin pale, should be red, so you can see what this looks like, and that's
Waiting for orders.
okay. Now, this is something I did want to show you. So this is a bug in RogueTech. They haven't nailed down what the problem is yet, but even though we did all of that customization, that's not what we just set it to, right? And the simple fix for that is just to get out of BattleTech. Let's save. Save it as tutorial. I don't think you need to quit the desktop. I think you could just get away with going to the main menu. We'll find out in a moment, won't we? Come on, game. Now, a lot of this hanging is because I have the extra debugging options enabled, so it's writing to the files, and that's what takes. So let's go back to career and load. We will load our tutorial. There we are. and load the game. All right, while we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and get more water. By the way, I love my water bottle here. You can't really see it right now. I wish that I had something up in the background, but it's green. And so I have my green screen up, and you can see through it. It's kind of cool. Takes a minute to load, like we said. Not as long as it does for the very first time, but it takes a moment. Hope you're finding this tutorial useful. We only have a couple more points that we want to go over, and then we can get started in earnest. Actually, no, we're not going to get started in earnest. We're going to go ahead and end the tutorial. Come on, game. You can do it, I promise. It's all that extra logging I have enabled. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, if you watched my last tutorial when we were going over the options for installing RogueTech, one of the things you can install is the extra bug debugging. I do that because I do a lot of beta testing for the RogueTech team, and that helps the team find out when there's a bug. That extra logging helps them determine what's wrong. So anyway, we are back in game. If we go back to the Mech Warriors, we will see that Maid now has her new look. Okay, we may have to go in and change her voice again, though. That is not correct.
Standing by.
That's still not her correct voice. Don't need to worry about it right now. You'll have to go through trial and error and figure out which voice you want for her. Okay. Now that we've done all of that, we can go and look at the mech bay. These are the mechs that we start with. Interesting. It did start with a medium-sized mech. It normally doesn't do that for clan start. So here you go. You can see what mechs you started with. You can come in here. You could refit them. I'm not going to go through all the refit options. That's another tutorial for another day. But you'll notice this does not look like vanilla at all, right? There's a lot here to go over, and I encourage you, before you get started, familiarize yourself with your mech, and if you don't like the way it's kitted out, fix it. Okay? If you have extra money, you can go to the store, and you can buy extra stuff that's available, and you can kit this out any way you want. Okay? Actually, not a bad build. Yeah. Anyway, that, I believe, covers everything. Let's go over and look at the star map. This is your first time looking at RogueTech, you are going to be very shocked. This goes over what you can see in the online map. Okay. But this is the online map. Isn't that amazing? This is every planet that they could find for the inner sphere. Earth is on here somewhere. I don't know where it is. I always lose it every time I go look. If you want to find something, you can hit Control F. Problem is if you hit Sol, you're going to be taken to Solaris, right? And then there's Solor, but you're not going to find Sol, like the Sol system, right? But there it is. Okay. Anyway, we're not going to go over this in too much detail. There it is. Clan space is up here. They even have the Pentagon worlds. Go up here. There's the 5 Pentagon worlds, and there's Faza. Now, you can see what faction owns each area, right? And when you click on it, you can see what factions have influence there. This is all just Clan Wolf, it looks like. Oh, wait, nope. Clan Goliath Scorpion is there. This is just Wolf. But do you see this icon right here? That means, that's an icon meaning that there is an actual player there right now doing missions. This person is allied with Clan Wolf, and their mercenary company name is Alpha Galaxy. Cool, huh? Here's where you start if you're in clan space. We're on Strana Mekti. And we can see that the clans is a faction. And Clan Wolf controls this planet right now. Actually, Clan Wolf owns everything up here. Good lord. They really took over. This used to be a lot of Jade Falcon space up here, and it looks like Clan Wolf came in and kicked them out. But anyway, that gives you kind of a brief overview of the game and the mod and what it's adding. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you found it useful. I'm going to go ahead and end the tutorial here, but again, if you have any questions, I highly recommend that you join the RogueTech Discord, and I also highly recommend that you look at my Twitch channel. Come in at any time when we're playing RogueTech. Ask me any questions you have. I'd be happy to help you out. You guys have a great one and enjoy. Bye.